Good morning, everybody. I will now moderate you through the live demo of our tools. My name is Uli Siebold. I was the technical manager of the Safety of Rails project and have probably quite a good overview over all tools. I will first present the hypothetical scenario as we glued it together from all the elements from the past simulation exercises. You see it on the timeline here. I'm reading through it because it was very detailed. So the idea was a coordinated group of terrorists are planning an attack on one of the central stations here in Paris. They are well prepared and have a very good outlook of the station, position and control room, security guards, and exit strategies. The attack is scheduled on 28th of September, so today, at peak hours in the morning. Effectively, we are guiding you through the scenario in real time, just shifted 3 hours back. So this happened everything at 7:30 a.m. One of the terrorists infiltrates the central station. I think you see here. As normal passenger carrying a baggage and waits at the platform for the next train. At 7:35, another member of the group enters successfully and infiltrates into the control room, unauthorized entry. This room has equipment that can monitor and manage the station in case of emergencies. Meanwhile, the first terrorist leaves the baggage behind and catches the next connection at 8. To confuse the security guards, first responders, and other practitioners, a hacker organizes a cyber attack to manipulate the wind and water level sensors at the entrance of a tunnel not very far from the targeted station. This attack causes a false alarm, misleading the practitioner's orient to this case, resulting in a disturbance and interruption in daily routine. With the access to the control room, the infiltrator gets access to the workstation and starts an internal denial of service attack on the CCTV cameras to block access to operational center and first responders. At 8:15, the baggage explodes, causing structural damage and chaos in the station. The explosion causes damage to the power supply, SCADA systems. This causes failure of signaling systems, causing decline in train speeds. The explosion itself causes fear, chaos, and stampede. At 8:25, posts about explosions start flooding in social media, causing further chaos around other stations as well. The explosion triggers chemical and radioactive sensors indicating dirty bomb using by intruders. Detected substances are being sent to Ram Square, and relevant mitigation actions can start. So we end at 8:25, and the scenario is what was intended. We will show you each individual step in the way that the outcomes of each tool will be presented live in demos. So we will have hybrid sessions here. So we will have people showing it from this room. We will have people showing it remotely. All the data is then transferred over the bus, so the tools are connected. Those that are not physically connected, I will simulate the connection to accelerate the demonstration. And it's assumed that all the data you will be explained is connected and available live for those tools. I see that all the presenters are already prepared for here. We have tools involved in live demo, which was also explained by Stephen. Each individual tool will be invited to be demonstrated. We have one exceptional tool here in the detection phase, which you it's the first time that you see the names, so it's probably worth mentioning it. We have one tool which is called Ram Square. This is what you will see in repetitive times, but not explicitly displayed as the name later on. So the live demo will happen in the detection and response phase. This is happening, so to say, in real time. And the identification and protect phase, so before the attack happens, and the recover phase after the attack happens, will be presented more or less offline, detached from the live demo. So you will see first those 4 tools demonstrating their main features. So you can imagine Everyone is very excited to present the tool, but you will see only 4 minutes or 5 minutes of the tool. It's just the top of the iceberg, feature-wise. Please take the chance to go over to the booth afterwards, asking questions. Maybe if you take notes afterwards, we will have a lot of time for comments and questions. You can then directly ask those people from the tool, or either me, and I will then dispatch this. We will try to make it transparent which tool is presenting what. Within the Safety for Rails information system, which is our platform, each individual tool is accessible, but we will show the tools individually, not to distract you from the platform itself. So I would like to ask a representative from SecuRail to present the tool SecuRail.
I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Giorgio Tardito, a junior project engineer in STAM, and I'll be presenting SecuRail, which is the tool that we developed within this project. Here is the series platform, and we can access our tool from there. This is the home page of our tool. We can switch the language in English. Here we can see in the home page the network where the user can edit their infrastructure, insert their station with their asset area with the corresponding economic values. And then there are two configurations. In the configuration, it is possible to add the countermeasure that you can apply to your infrastructure, and then you can run the risk engine in order to perform the risk analysis. In this example, we choose the baseline configuration, and as a target, we choose the external area of the station. Then as a threat, we set a bombing, an explosion, in the weekdays at 8 o'clock. Then we can run the risk engine, and in a few seconds here we can see the dashboard. In the dashboard there is the overall risk of the score of this specific scenario, a risk breakdown based for economic losses. In this case we have the majority due to fatalities, then injuries and out of service. The worst risk scenarios with the corresponding loss, the risk computed in euros per year, and the risk breakdown for the level of impact of these specific threats. We can also download the report in which we can see more detailed information about this specific scenario. And I would like to take your attention the first two columns, ID and origin ID. These are fundamental in order to track the cascading effect of the impact. For example, in this case, we can see that the bombing in the external area has generated, propagated as creating also another explosion in the station one, in the main hall, and so on. And for each of these specific scenarios, there is the magnitude, the corresponding magnitude, the time of out of service, if the countermeasure applied were enough, so it is if the attack is mitigated, the fuse law presented, and the corresponding economic losses and the risk score. That's it. If you have any question, I gladly answer them in the booth later.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Maybe as a background information, SecuRail is using or generating also a topology of assets for doing the risk assessment, and this topology of assets can be communicated over our internal message bus, and there are tools that can make use of such a topology information, and they consume this and further process the topology information, which has, of course, the benefit that the user don't need to enter the asset information twice or even more times. So we don't only exchange alerts, but also other data over the message bus. Next tool is now a Bomb Blast 3D, already preparing. So the stage is yours, Emiliano. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, good morning everybody. I'm Emiliano Costa, I work for RINA. RINA is an Italian engineering company working worldwide. And one of the main tasks of RINA in the Safety for Rates project is to develop the bomb blast tool. This tool is a tool capable to predict the blast loads and consequences related to a bomb attack performed using an egg detonation explosives. The bomb blast takes in input two types of data. The first is the one shown in the screen, basically. That is the discretized CAD model, the geometry of the model to be studied. This is a generic urban environment model. And apart from this, another type of data is the input file that is shown on the right. Basically, a file including a set of data, such as the location of the bomb, the mass charge, the explosive types, and the number, for example, of the people in the buildings and outside the buildings. The tool as output is able to provide sets of data, such as shown in the screen, the blast quantities of interest. Here you can see a list of, plotted over the wall surfaces of the model. So, for example, you can plot the peak reflected over pressure, the time of arrival, specific impulse, and so on. And you can also visualize a set of data in a box-shaped volume virtually filled by air. And also in this case, we have lots of data that can be visualized. Here you can see an example, the cutting of this volume, which will represent the time of arrival, for example. Okay, so the computing is very fast and stable because it is based on experimental data. The tool can be linked with other tools of the platform through the DMS today. An example will be shown by Democritos in the next talk to give more detail. Of course, we are able to provide all the details after this brief introduction at our booth here on the right. And I take the occasion to thank UIC for hosting the meeting and all of you for participating. And I leave the floor to the Democritos. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the smooth handover. I don't need to explain anything else. So the 3D model, as told, can be now handed over to another tool called iCrowd, which will be presented online. So I think it will be done by Stelios from Democritos. Are you here, ready to present?
Yes, I'm here. Just give me a second to share my screen. Okay, you can see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Stelios Amopoulos, and I'm a research director of research at the National Center of Scientific Research, Democritos, and I will be presenting the iCrowd agent-based simulation platform and briefly highlight how it was used in what context in the project S4R. The iCrowd is a full-blown crowd simulation platform and can be used in co-simulation of different scenarios in different settings involving indoor or outdoor environments, building interiors and exteriors, stadiums, rail and metro stations, airports and seaports, city neighborhoods, open air festivals and public areas of increased traffic, etc., to provide an insight of how the crowd moves and what are the potential risks and measures that can be implemented in order to safely manage a large number of people in an area. What you see on your screen is the simulator running on real time. At the moment, it has been paused just to show you a couple of things. In one of the pilot metro stations used in S4R, just to show you to tell you what you see here is the first floor of this 3-model metro station with passengers and cameras showing here in green the areas of view of the camera and the blind spots in red, audio alert systems, etc. The simulator offers a large number of options and parameters that you can monitor during the simulation and record them and play in the back. There's no much time to show now, but during the next session, we can, if you want, discuss them. I just ran it quickly here to see how, to get a look and feel of how this is looks when the simulation runs. I'm going to pause the simulation and switch over the screen to some pre-recorded videos, in particular the scenario that was delineated by Emiliano in the previous presentation, the bomb blast outside a stadium and the impact on spectators and the traffic on the adjacent metro station. Here is the stadium, and these are the entry points to the metro station. So at 0 time, I start the playback. The game is over, and the crowd start moving out of the stadium, either departing in various directions or through the metro station. You can see it here. I'll just quickly run it to see how the simulation looks like. Obviously, it's from not zoomed in. Here we can zoom in inside the metro station where all the walls have been removed in order to get a feeling of what the simulation looks like and where the crowd is gathered. And at time 5.12, there is a command sent for the bomb blast. To the software presented by Irina before. So there is a detonation of a bomb. You'll see it right now. Okay, here it is, and this volume here indicates the shock waves and the heat waves that emerge from the bomb blast, the impact on the crowd, and as a result, people start leaving, trying to find either a safe place away from the stadium or inside the metro station. I'll run it quite quickly here to see what's happening. They gather inside the train station, waiting for the metro, but there is another cyber attack that immobilizes the trains from coming to the station. So at some point, this becomes known, and people start leaving the metro station. I'll just run it quickly here. Okay, and you can see the evacuation and all the people leaving in large numbers. Here there is a delay because the door was compromised, the opening, because of the cyber attack. And after this has been restored, the crowd start leaving into the pre-designated safe areas outside. And 18 minutes into the simulation, all the metro has been cleared from all passengers inside. There are different KPIs. Yes.
1 minute left.
Yep, different KPIs that can be measured, such as flow the crowd, the heat maps of the pressure that is being developed, or the proximity, in other words, the pressure from each other, and all this can be recorded and played back to get a better feel of what's going on. Then there was another experiment that ran on another metro station, much bigger, and there they again different KPIs were measured, such as areas that are covered by cameras and blind spots, indicated in these two screens on the upper part of the slide, or the effect of the mobile cameras on the field of view of the stationary cameras, and evasive maneuvers that can be detected if an imposter is trying to place a bomb inside or compromise the infrastructure. And finally, this is where we started from, the third metro station, where again here the scenario was a cyber attack, and the point here was whether the camera system could detect the movement of the imposter, and the imposter here appears at a later stage, who has knowledge of the cameras and try to make maneuvers, evasive maneuvers, in order to go undetected in the cyber room. And this concludes the presentation. As I said, will be available if you wish to see live how the simulator works or discuss in more detail. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Stelios. Thank you. So, short handover to T-Sale. I would like to give you a short summary of what we have seen up to now. So with Securail, you now have an overview of the risks of your system. With BB3D, you now have an impression what happens when a bomb is detonating, and with iCrowd, you can simulate how people behave, what are evacuation routes, etc. And we are now coming a bit closer to the detection phase, because with T-Sale now, we can see some technical vulnerabilities, which will be very relevant in our live demonstration starting soon. The stage is yours.
Okay, hello, good morning everyone. I'm Tatiana Silva and I work for Tree Technology, that is SME based in Spain. Here in Safety for Rails project, we developed a T-Sale tool. That is a threat intelligence tool mainly for prevention and for situation awareness, that can lead us to detect some vulnerabilities and mitigate those vulnerabilities. So T-Sale monitors IT and OT exposed assets to internet, malware samples, and mainly social media feeds. It gathers vulnerabilities and threats affecting industrial control systems and IT systems. Here in the Safety for Rails user interface, if we click in T-Sale, we go to the MISP platform, user platform. That is a malware intelligence sharing platform, so it was not really developed by Tree Technology. So what we did is to use this open platform to add our alerts, and taking advantage of this platform, we can also correlate and see other alerts that were sent to from other institutions. So if I write safety for Rails, I will identify the alerts that TSAIL sent to MISP. So as you can see here, we have several alerts related to different things. So we have vulnerabilities in some cameras used in the railway infrastructure. We have some exposed assets, for example, in a mail server. And I will open one of them, for example, this one that is related to vulnerability in a CCTV camera used in some railway infrastructures. So if we open the alert, we can see more details about this vulnerability. So if we scroll down, we see the value of the vulnerability, and we see more information about the vulnerability in order to try to mitigate this vulnerability. So here we see that a remote administrator can send a special request to the server, and it can lead to denial of service attack. So the hackers can block the camera, and this may affect the security of the infrastructure. And then there are some links to external websites where we can gather more information on how to mitigate the vulnerability. So this is an example, and as I said before, we have here several vulnerabilities, and something that I forgot to mention before is that these alerts are also integrated in Ramsey Square and can be seen also in our Ramsey Square, together with the other data coming from the other tools. So that's all from my side. So I will be happy to give more information in the booth later today. Well, thank you.
Thanks a lot. So in theory, we presented now 4 chances for you to mitigate and reduce risks for attacks. And you will see what we just saw in TSAIL will be very, very relevant in our live demonstration. So this is the timeline I will guide you through. It's exactly the same timeline as I presented here. So each of those dots represent one activity of the potential attackers. And the bubble here indicates which tool can respond or detect or do some actions with regards to that entry point. So every of those points, in principle, is an interruption chance for you to stop the attack. So the event is raised from that tool, and in principle, the operators can inform law enforcement agencies at any time we will present here. You will see that diagram appearing probably on the left soon. And the sequence is always that I tell you what happens, then we will switch to the tool. The tool is sending then an alert to our decision support system, which is RumSquare. Then we will see the result in RumSquare, and then the next phase is happening. So you will always see me, then the tool, RumSquare, and then me again. And this sequence will appear always on the left side, so that you have always the chance to orientate where we are and when we are. So first, at 7:35 a.m., the central control room is breached with forced entry, and we assume that data is available and being monitored. So we see now the people from Prime Sensation demonstrate what is happening there. We cannot hear you yet.
Can you hear me now?
Great, yeah, we hear you.
Hello, I'm Ibrahim from ERJA. Although I'm in Paris, I couldn't make it to the conference due to illness, but I will present our tool online. Let me start from our tools. Prime and SenStation are hardware-based solutions. Prime is a hardware security module operating at the central site, and SenStation is a secure IoT gateway working at nodes assuring the security of the data where it is generated. Prime and SenStation enable secure data transmission among nodes. This makes the entire transmission system resilient against cyber attacks. So in our Unity simulation, we show the secure data transmission. The simulation is used to visualize the secure IoT connection. For instance, in the first case, you can see the simulation of an unauthorized access to a mission-critical place like a central control room. Here we can identify unauthorized access instantly by using Prime, like access terms in abnormal times. So the terrorist has entered the central control room, and an anomaly is sent to the RAM square. Let me stop the screen sharing.
Hello everyone, this is Laura from Elbit. I will share my screen now in order to see the alert on the RAM square. So as we can see here,
We have background noises, so thank
has
you.
managed to receive an alert about unexpected physical entrance, and here we can see the sensors data as well as mitigation steps in order to identify, remediate, and also for the post-basic steps afterwards.
Thanks a lot. So we've seen that Prime SenStation detected the room is breached, and that event was sent over the message bus to the other tool, which is RAMSquare. And in RAMSquare, you see the event and recommendation for mitigation measures. At 8 a.m. now, so 25 minutes later, a terrorist places an abandoned baggage on specific platform, and this can be detected by a tool which is called Ganymede, and also, of course, connected to our distributed messaging system. And this will be presented by Claudio soon. Thanks a lot.
Okay. I'm sharing my screen. Okay, good morning. I'm Claudio Porretti. I work for Leonardo. And in Safety for Rail, we provide our video analysis tool called Ganymede. And we develop some functions. One of these functions is the abandoned baggage detection of an abandoned baggage. As example of this detection, I will show you a video that we have recorded during the Ankara exercise. In this video, you can see there are some people working on the platform. Of course, they are actors, and one of them is carrying a baggage. Ganymede can be, of course, configured in order to set up the distance of the nearest person between the abandoned baggage and the nearest person, and the time you have to consider of minimal time of an abandoned baggage can be left alone. As you can see, a person carrying the baggages now sit on a bench. The
baggage is on the bench too, and the people is standing up and walk away. After a few seconds, there will be the detection by Ganymede. And this is the detection of the abandoned object. The alarm raised by Ganymede is forwarded to another tool of Leonardo. This is a crisis management tool called SC2, and this is the interface of SC2. As you can see in the bottom, you can see the alarm that has been raised by Ganymede. Ganymede is connected with SC2, and in the right part, there are some information related to the position of the abandoned object. Then this alarm is forwarded to RAM square, and we will simulate this fact. Thank you. This is my presentation.
So, thanks a lot. So the alarm was now sent over the message bus, and RAM square should probably have seen it already in the message queue. So we will switch over to RAM square.
Yes, hello again, everyone. As we can see here, we can see the message from
Not yet.
Ramsper.
Can you have a short pause? I think we are waiting for the screen to be shared. Can you share the screen? We still see.
I'll try to share my screen.
Yes,
again.
great. Now we see you.
Yes. Okay, that's great. So as we can see here, the event about the event on the baggage of RAM square, including the mitigation steps.
Thanks a lot. So we are now 5 minutes later at 8:05, where a terrorist interferes with wind and water level sensors, causing alarm, and this again can be detected by prime sense station. We see the screen. We don't hear you yet.
He's mute.
Can you unmute your microphone? We don't hear you yet.
He's mute.
Yeah. Now
Okay, let me share the screen again. So similarly, in this application, Sense Station is connected with the wind and water level sensors. In normal life, the system gives an alert when there is a heavy rain and or strong wind and at the exit of the tunnel. This is delivered to the mechanist by a message aiming to alert him to reduce the train speed. But in a cyber attack, a fake alarm can be created. In this exercise, this can be used to create a panic and confuse the authorities. There is a problem in different locations of the train network. This may cause some instantaneous security management problem, and the first responders can be oriented to the fake area instead of the main target. Prime Sense Station is capable of providing a secure and trusted channel to transmit the correct data and prevent any fake alarms. Because these two hardware-based solutions are resilient against cyber attacks, physical and physical tampering. As we see, two anomaly messages has been sent. One is for water level anomaly, and the other is for wind speed anomaly. And we can see them on the RAM square too. So let me stop the screen. My presentation is ended here.
Thanks a lot. So the tool from Prime or Prime Sense Station now has sent two alarms, one for the wind and one for the water level sensor, which should both appear within RAM square. So can you share the screen again and show us the events?
Yes, of course. I'll share my screen in a second. Okay, RAM square.
So to fill the gap, normally we have a short polling interval from the alarms that are sent out to ROM2. So we have a configurable polling interval from, I think currently it's 1 minute. So we might have a delay of 1 minute from sending out the alert up to the consummation of that event in another tool.
Yes, the events have already been sent to ROM2, and as we can you see my screen, by the way?
Yes, we can.
Yes, so here we can see the event dealing with the wind speed rising, including additional events as well as sensors relevant data, and above, a bit below that, we can see the water level event, which is reported as above a critical threshold as well. Of course, we can see here additional information regarding the sensors outputs about it.
Thanks a lot. So you've seen now, up to now, you would have had 3 possibilities to interrupt an attack or to react on it. And the next one is coming at 8:10. So at 8:10 a.m., with the access to the internal network, the intruder now initiates an internal DOS attack on the CCTVs to block the awareness there. And on the monitoring systems. And we also have a tool that is capable to detect this, which is also presented then live here. Eros, the stage is yours.
I'll share the screen. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, good. So Curix is the software solution for detecting and predicting outages and issues in technical systems. The mission aim of Curix is to prevent today what would go wrong tomorrow. So we would like to bring in the philosophy of acting instead of reacting to issue, mainly in the IT and railway environment. From the system under surveillance, Curix is able to process log data and metric data. Metric data you can interpret simply as time series data from the system under surveillance. This type of data can be ingested into Curix either directly or by tools that are already available, like Splunk or other observability tools. The main results of Curix are that we detect unknown unknowns, so an agnostic approach to detect abnormal behavior in systems, to detect a variety of cyber and physical threats. Where we know what the scenario is, here this denial of service attack, Curix does not know this scenario, so it's agnostic in this way. The main purpose is to increase resilience, mainly by showing today the integration of Curix with the safety for race information system. So for this scenario, now I can also open the tool. We can also open it directly here inside. So for this scenario, we are monitoring the performance indicators of the CCTV system. So it takes a moment to load. For the CCTV system, I hope that it loads a bit faster soon. Here now. Here down, we have a component here in this dashboard, which shows us the health score of the CCTV system. As I said, we have some performance metrics of the CCTV systems, like what is the general ping time, response time, what is the status, and so on. And even without knowing the details of the CCTV system, we know that we have a problem or an issue when the performance degrades really fast or is at a very low level. What you see here in the main tab or in the top part here is the system health score with 61%. So this is the total health of the overall system, which is surveilled at this moment. At the moment, it's only a CCTV system and another device. So due to the denial of service attack, this health score then drops, which you can then see, you can use to follow on which infrastructure something is happening. So we can see here that the CCTV system has dropped from what was before at 100% to now down a level which is at 24%. And also here you can see that the health score, which was quite stable at 100%, now dropped down. Then we have the resilience issues, which are comparable to alarms. They are a combination of alerts. So Curix does aggregation of alerts in order to reduce the noise. And here we can then see what is the reasoning behind this alarm. And so we can see that we have here really 3 or 4 anomalies detected for really unexpected values or behavior that was detected for this moment. And these identify anomalies trigger such an alarm, which is then sent to the Safety for Rails information system over the DMS, which is then consumed by the decision support RAM2 and will now be shown, hopefully.
Thank you. So
I stop share the screen.
So we should have now sent an alarm to RAM2 that we detected some problems in the CCTV, and this should also appear then in RAM2.
Yes, so it is indeed here on RAM2. As we can see, a network event was detected, a DOS attack was detected.
Can you share that? We don't see the screen yet.
Oh, it's still mine?
Can you see it now?
Not yet. I think
We
need to stop share the formal one and then we can see.
I thought I clicked already.
You're still sharing.
So share again.
I think
You're still sharing your screen.
Yeah.
Someone is still sharing their screen, so
I can do a new sharing, but or I can continue sharing, but I cannot stop sharing.
I can see Eros'
Yes,
screen.
yeah. He's trying to unshare.
I closed them.
So
that's good.
he's leaving now the meeting so that sharing should be stopped, and then you should be able to share.
Let me try. So, can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
So, as you can see, thank you as well. As we can see here, indeed, the event is on RAM2, event which is related to the CCTV service response time, which is increased due to a DDoS attack. And we can see here the mitigation steps as well.
Thank you. 5 minutes later, since we assume that the attack is going on as planned and no intervention happened, even if Prime Sensation and Ganymede warned you that something is going on, at 8:15 the abandoned baggage then finally explodes on the platform, and we assume that we have noise level sensors in the station. This will be monitored and also detected by Curix, which will be presented by Eros. If you're connected again.
I shared the screen.
Great, thanks.
Okay, can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good, perfect. So for this part, now I'm showing what's happening under the hood of Curix in the context of this simulation exercise. We are now monitoring a simulated noise in the station from a sound level meter device, which could be located in a passage or hallway in the station. Here we have the other aforementioned performance metrics of the CCTV system, and now we can have a look at how this, how the time series looks like for the sound pressure level meter device. Here we have it throughout, or for the last, I don't know, 26 hours or something like this, so we can see that over the day there is of course a lot of noise in this passageway of hallways because of the crowds that are passing by, and in the night we have of course a much lower level of the noise. Now due to the explosion in some distance, then a sharp increase in noise is recorded by this metering device, and this is then detected by Curix as an anomaly. An event is generated, so a resilience issue. This is then displayed also in the Curix dashboard, or should be, if I go to the resilience issue, which then should, maybe takes a moment. We have like a 2-minute cycle, so it takes a moment to pop up here. Okay, we can, I think also skip it because it will then anyway be visible in RAM squared. I think now something just happened because it dropped a lot. So yes, also now we know that something is really not in a good state for our monitored infrastructure. And maybe the resilience issue now is here. Okay, still not here. But this should still be displayed now in RAM squared.
Thanks, Eros. So maybe you can leave the meeting again to stop sharing.
I'm not needed. That's good.
So the explosion alert should now have arrived at RAM square from Kirix, so that you can see it also there.
Yes, it is here on RAM square. I'll share my screen in a moment, of course. So just try to share it now. I'll share screen, and here we go. As we can see here on RAM square, peak noise values have been detected on the microphone, and that, of course, indicates an explosion.
Thanks a lot. So in the meantime, we have a representative from Wings preparing for the next event. Maybe it's worth having just a comment for the anomaly detection, because we have at least, I think, 4 tools taking care with anomaly detection. And one of the main advantages here is that you do not need to prepare for a specific event. So you have seen the time series of the noise, just as an example, and you see that there is a peak when we have an explosion, but also the other way around. So if suddenly no noises appear anymore at the station because people left or so, it's also detected as an anomaly. Even if you did not prepare for that event, the anomaly detection is very powerful. Therefore, we have so many tools taking care about anomalies, because it's very flexible without having the need to prepare for all eventualities. So in this light at 8:20, due to the explosion, chaos starts to build on the station, which can be monitored and also identified as WingSpark. And to mention here, since this is a very reliable tool, we will see also the message sending live from this tool. The other messages I triggered manually, so not to lose time. But here we have the live sending of the event also from the tool. Stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Uli. Hello also from my side. So I'm Andreas Georgakopoulos from Wings ICT Solutions. It's based in Athens, Greece. And here we can see our tool, WingSpark, which has been developed and updated during the Safety for Rails project. So by clicking on the tool, we can see, let's say, some crowd estimation. As Uli said, we have the explosion. Crowd starts piling up in the various stations, platform. And here we can see in the tool some image processing that is being done in order to be able to detect this. And here in the concept of the exercise, a message also is sent to the system, to the Safety for Rails information system, and it's captured also by the RAM square in order to be able to provide, let's say, the necessary notification, which also, apart from RAM square, also is visualized in our front end that you are seeing here. So of course these images are for demonstration purposes that you see here from various cameras in order to show how the algorithm works and how the crowd estimation is being done in order to be able to see if a lot of people are gathered somewhere or not. For example, in this case here from another camera, we don't see a major crowd. So here, let's say, it's not something that needs specific attention. And also, apart from the alerts, there is the possibility here to verify, let's say, a specific alert or dismiss it in order to actually have some performance metrics of the true positive or the false positive rates, depending on, so as to evaluate also the algorithm and make it better. So as we talk, also some colleagues of mine are remotely connected in the office, and there probably we can see also from round square the message that is being exchanged. So shall I stop sharing my screen and check the round square?
Yes. Can you confirm that the message already arrived?
I can't see the message on round square, but let's wait a bit.
Okay, so in the meantime, the next event is named here as T-Cell, but due to last-minute changes I did on the slides, it should be OSINT. So it's not the tool from T-Cell, but it's a connection to OSINT, which we will see afterwards, just to keep this in mind. And also, you have seen here in the videos, since we have a look only at the crowd movement and not monitoring individual persons, it's also ethical compliant what we do here, because we are monitoring meta-level KPIs to identify problematic situations. So are you using camera inputs, or are you consuming meta KPIs that are coming from a camera device?
Actually, we're using camera inputs in order to do some image processing. Of course, not faces, etc. I mean, it's blur. And we just need to detect the concertation level of the crowd, let's say. So the algorithm that is running can detect the concertation of the crowd, and so by detecting, let's say, the points on the map, on the image, through this video processing that we do. So it's different images, captures that we capture, and provide these alerts if there is a problem, let's say, in the image.
Okay, and can you connect to any camera device, or is there some special requirements?
In general, it can be whatever camera device. The camera transmits to our system, to our backend. It's cloud-based, and from there we can provide, let's say, the analysis through the algorithm, and then provide the alert. So, I mean, it's camera agnostic, let's say. It's not so for...
Great. So I think we have now the event sent to RAM Square. Leo?
Yes, so the event is on RAM Square. As we can see here, a very high concentration of a crowd was detected on a specific monitored area. And of course, we can see here the mitigation steps as well. Furthermore, just would like to do a quick overview of the events that have already been received on RAM Square. So we managed to receive the sensor manipulation events, the wind, as well as the water level. We have here the camera event, detecting the overcrowded area. We can see here also the high noise event detection, indicating on an explosion. And scroll down a bit. We can see here the event about the physical intrusion, about the abandoned object, and on the DDoS attack on the CCTV service.
Very impressive. Thanks a lot for this. So now do you still want to? Okay, thanks a lot. So now we are 5 minutes later, 8:25. What happens here is that due to the explosion, social media posts and media start popping up and further spread chaos in other stations. So we are using here now open source intelligence. So please be aware, T-Sale should be renamed to OSINT again. Sorry for that. I did some last minute changes, which you always should avoid. But anyway, Tatjana, you can tell a bit further about this.
Okay, so I'm Tatjana from Tree Technology, and we were collaborating with Innova Integra, another partner from Safety for Rails, and they developed this concrete model of OSINT, that is a software that monitors social media to find occurrences of a specific location of concern. So, for example, this post was sent. So, just heard about a bomb going off in Paris at the central train station Gare de Lyon. And this OSINT model developed by Innova Integra analyzes the text of the post using natural language processing. So basically, we can get message-related data. So the sender and date and location when the message was sent. So here we can see it. Then also the event is identified. In this case, an explosion and a bomb going off. So this is related to the ontologies that we defined in the project. And besides, also location information is also identified by this natural language processing. So when the event is relevant, an alert is sent to MISP that I explained to you before, this open platform to share alerts. So this event on the social media report was created here in MISP, as you can see. This is the first one. If we open this alert here, we get some information about the post, the Twitter post. So the text of the post, but also some quick way of seeing the most relevant information within the post. So we have the location, the country, the city, also the coordinates of the place where the message was sent, and the tags for the specific, like bomb and explosion, specific event information that is useful. So from this MISP, the alert is sent to Ramses Square and can be shown there.
Thank you. So the event was triggered and should now also be visible in Rome Square.
Yes, it is. Share my screen. So, can you see my screen?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you as well. So as we can see here, we have an alert which deals with explosion, which was reported on social media. We can see here the relevant messages, coordinates, relevant tags that are bind to messages themselves.
Thanks a lot. Thank you. So now we ended up with the stream, with the swim lane of detection, but you all know that we gave you a few hints with our detective stuff, and in the meantime you could have started to initiate response activities, and this means to separate the detection and the response, we have more or less two swim lanes to present. And now you will see also two more tools where we step back time-wise 7 minutes to 8:18 a.m., which brings you further capabilities with our tool CSAR in the Safety for Rails information system. So at 8:18 a.m., CSAR consolidates all the events, computes the list of critical components, impact propagation, and suggests mitigation measures. And as before, this tool also is connected into our distributed messaging system.
Okay, so I'm Katja Feist from Fraunhofer EMI, and we developed here CSAR, which is a tool for covered grid simulation, which can estimate how an impact is going through the network. And I will here. So when going now here to the screen, the main screen of the tool, we first see the model network. So this is open data which we show here. It's network modeled of Rome. So stations are modeled as nodes and connections as links here, the railways. And based on this model, we can then estimate the impact of a station where we have an outage. So in this case, we assume that the station is not operable, we analyze. And so then we can go here to what if scenario. So we have anonymized the stations. Then you can see, okay, we have here the red line is the disruptive event. So the station is not operable anymore, and then we see how the performance in the network is going down. So this is model to performance, and you can also see on the right-hand side how the failure propagates through the network. Not here, okay, here we can see it. So the red ones are not operable, the green ones are working, and maybe zoom a little bit in. And then we can also see how here the failure propagates here, where the problem is, and on this side here we can see how the network recovers. So which parts are working again. And we can also have a view on the impact propagation in detail. So we can then compare different mitigation measures. We can say, okay, when we have no mitigation, the network, here is the blue line, and when we reroute the passenger, the network performs better. We see here the green line that we not lose so much performance. Okay, and then we have the agent-based model. So we can also, this is now a smaller network, so only a part of Rome, where we modeled also the passengers going on the trains. So these bubbles moving around here are the trains, then the bubbles on the green bubbles are the stations. And if we scroll down, we have then here a better scenario where we also have a failure. So the red line is again a disruptive event. The green line is then where the recovery begins, and then we see, okay, how the passengers move, how can we maybe reroute them, we can analyze those things. And that's it from CSAR. Then I will...
Thanks a lot. So during that simulations, Can you write him to share it again? So what you see in RAM Square then, of course, as before, is the event coming from Caesar to RAM Square. And on the right side, you see then the event and also suggested mitigation measures. And those mitigation measures were coming from Caesar. So everything is displayed then in RAM Square. Did I reflect it correctly, Leo?
Excuse me, there is an audio problem online.
I couldn't. I'm sorry, Uli. I couldn't hear all of the complete sentence since I had audio issues. But I'll review it quickly.
Great, yes.
But anyway, thank you, Uli. Thank you again. Okay. So as we can see here, an event coming from Caesar about the impact propagation on network due to the events occurring on a certain station. We can see here the mitigation steps as well as a link to additional info which is relevant to this series of events.
Thanks a lot, Leo. So next step is at 8:22. So at 8:22, you could use, with all the activities happened before, DataFan in the most fruitful way, because it gives indications on unoperational stations, it computes and suggests passenger capacities in neighboring stations. And this will be demonstrated by Katharina. Thank you.
Thanks, Uli. I will share my screen. Yeah, okay. Now you can see the screen that we already saw a few times today, and now I will scroll down to DataFan. So my name is Katharina Ross. I'm coming also from Fraunhofer EMI, and we are developing the DataFan tool. And as you can see here in a short information, DataFan is used as a monitoring and detection tool. It monitors the active railway system to detect anomalies in the data using machine learning methods. And I will demonstrate you now this. If you type here, you will be directed to this page. The password for this you will get later at our booth, so please come there. If we are going to this site, where is it? Okay, so I will type it now here again. I hope so, because I prepared it before. Okay. Then you will get to this page, and there you can download all the files. So it's a zip file for the tool, but also a manual and a tutorial that guides you through the tool and through installing it, and the README file. Now, when we installed the tool, then we are coming to this page. We have to start an exe file. You can see in the first screen that it is really detected or developed for a railway and metro application, as we can see here. So it's just a few seconds to upload all the files that we need. And then we will be directed to the next page where we can choose the different data and the different use cases that we prepared so far. So it's now taking a few seconds longer than normally. Now it's there. So here we all, as we heard this morning, we already had a few use cases, for example, the Madrid use case, the RFI use case, Comuni di Milano, but today we will have a look at the Paris use case. This is this one. And now we are, as we heard also this morning, we want to detect the expected passenger load on a Thursday, like today, in the morning hours from 7 to 9. When you choose this, then you get an overview of the data of a normal situation that you have, since we need a basis for our calculations. If we are going to the next page, here you can do a few special options. You can choose special options for the calculation. The rough rule is the larger the numbers here, the more exact are the results, but the longer is the calculation time. So for a first result, we can start with a number of 10 for the number of epochs and a number of 10 for the Monte Carlo simulations as well, and then we start the prediction. This now will take maybe 3 to 5 minutes, but I will now switch to exactly that one, because I prepared it before so that we can now save that time. If the calculation is finished, then this go to the results button is turned to green, that you can see it's done. And then you will get this page. This page gives you first an overview of all the stations that we are focusing on. So we have here the station M in the middle and the surrounding stations. This is the capacity per hour, but you also have the option to choose, for example, the free capacity per hour. This is what we need, and you will also get an information about the expected number of passengers exactly for that hour now. And you can see, because we have the rush hour, that we have a higher amount of people, or a higher crowd of people than normally, of about 15% here. Now we go back to the free capacities, because we heard from the scenario that we are focusing today that the station has to be closed. That means that there is no free capacity at all, so this number turns to negative, and we now have to redirect the people. So this is also here, you can choose how you want to redirect the passengers, for example, with a bus or with a tram. So we can take now the bus or also the tram, so it doesn't matter. But it gives here an information what will be the time to redirect the passengers there, so to have an information what time will be needed additionally. Then we can go next and get a result what is behind these, or get an information what is behind these results. So how trustable are these results? Here you will get an overview about the performance metrics and the errors. These are because of the uncertainties. And here you will get like an overall reliability score. So this is now for 0.45. Of course, it can be higher. And this can be done when you go back to the page that we had at the beginning. And here you now can choose, for example, a higher number. But with this first result, you have an information if you are going in the right direction. And this was it from DataFan. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. So in the meantime, also a piece of information as in form of an alert is sent to RAMSquare. So Leo, since RAMSquare only was presenting events so far, and no explicit explanation of RAMSquare was given, so maybe, and we have still some time left, maybe you can not only tell something about the incoming alert, but also maybe a minute or two for RAMSquare in general.
Hi, Oli, it's Eli from Elbit.
Hello, Eli. Then
hi,
you.
Hi. In a minute I will deliver this right to Leo, but just to explain about the task that we had. So Elbit Systems, as an Israeli company, was in charge of aggregating all the events and alerts data into a single tool to easy the way of the officer in charge to handle the situation. So we are using the RAMSquare tool licensed by Otorio, which is also an Israeli company. And maybe Lior now can explain about a few features about this tool.
Yes, hello everyone. First of all, I'd like to share my screen on RAMSquare. First, as we can see here, so the event related to the abnormal passenger flow is here, including the data about the expected flow rate of turnstiles, including the data about the capacities of surrounding stations and in other data as well. And we can see here the mitigation steps. So generally, what RAM Square is. So RAM Square is generally a risk assessment system which is based upon many mechanisms. One of them, which is displayed here, is the integrations mechanism, i.e., for instance, we would like to place, to see like a consolidated place for alerts coming from different security systems. Let's say a customer has a SIM or an EDR, and there is a lot of noise coming from these systems, and the customer would like to see something which is in one place, consolidated, and also to derive out something from these many indicators that are coming from many other sources. So RAM Square is the solution. So we have here, for instance, I'll shift to another RAM Square environment. So we can see here, we can have an integration with Active Directory, for instance, and to say something about Active Directory misconfigurations. We can have here an integration with CrowdStrike, with Clarity, and other tools as well. All of these data is normalized by RAM Square, resulting in alerts, as we have already seen here. And we can also generate insights based upon data coming from all these sources. So RAM Square is supposed to be like the single source of truth. RAM Square also supports the ability to generate vulnerabilities on assets. For instance, if, for instance, one of the clients has some sort of an unupdated Windows 10 system, so we can see here as well, RAM Square is generally dedicated for the OT sector, for the industrial sector. So this is our specialty, but we also support classical IT as well, and we also are able to generate, for instance, let's say reports about the compliance of an organization based on different standards.
Yeah, and I can also add that Elbit, as the aggregator, help with all the tool providers and the vendors to create a unified reporting system and reporting protocols that enable us to generate insights from all these alerts.
Thanks a lot. So also an impressive tool. So we now showed you the combination and the collaboration between the tools within the real-time part of a scenario, and we would state that we would give in that scenario 40 minutes extra time between detection and the explosion due to the first indications of the attack, and then for the first hard event evidence for having a risk of an explosion, also 15 minutes to interact, in addition to those interacting points that we presented you in the timeline. After the response phase, it's also important that we think about recovery, and that brings us to the last tool that we would like to show you here in the demo, which is coming from RMIT. And this is here on the, when we go back to the table from the beginning, we started with identification and protection, went over detection and response, and now coming to recovery. So we are now going to the tool CAMS, which is also presented online.
Thank you for that introduction. I will start sharing my screen quickly. Hello everyone, I'm Kanishka from RMIT. So we will be discussing the latter part of the simulation where we're looking at recovery phase after an incident. We can use the tool CAMS to make informed decisions on when, how much funding to be allocated in case of an incident like an attack or flood, or it could be, we could use that for recovery phase after an incident happens as well. So I'll just select the tool free here from the platform, and you can see the login page. So once the login happens, just letting it load. So CAMS is an asset management platform which we can use for different types of assets. In our situation, we for Safety for Rails project, we have adapted the system to specifically for rail. So in here, you can see the different simulations that we have done over the past. I'll be focusing one of the simulations just to show you an example of what sort of recovery costs or recovery times you can expect from the exercise. So if I was to select on the rails and I go into the hierarchy area, you can see different categories of assets. So if I go to Data Explorer, this is where all the information related to the station, which is also available in the common tool, will be loaded into the system here as well. So you can see different fields such as asset code, category, and time of repair, etc., priority. There are some other tools here. So whether the incident is affected on the asset or not can be updated through the platform. So you can see in different pages, some of these assets are not affected by the incident, but some of them have been. So once you update that flag there, the analysis will start to run, and using the predefined costs and the curves that are allocated within the system, you can then generate some reports that I will just quickly show. So we're focusing on lifecycle reports such as this. After the incident itself, you can see what sort of a major cost that is added due to the incident itself. See here we have a big massive peak in 2022, which is happening due to the fact that the incident has happened. Usually it is quite low, and if it was in general, but in this case we can see a very large peak. Considering the other the reports here, you can allocate a budget that you are capable of spending on the incident itself. There are some other peaks that are happening over time as well, which is coming from that big event that has happened and how the deterioration of those, natural deterioration of those assets will perform over time. So you can see a few years later you have the same peak, but the biggest concern here is this this peak at the beginning. 7.3 million is what is required to fix all the damage that has happened. However, the budget has been allocated at 6. When you can see there's a $1.3 million difference, and this is where if you don't have a plan for that difference, you would run into a problem where you'll have an underperforming railway station over time. In this case, you can see how that backlog of information, the cost, is carried on for 4 years. And in this 4 years, there's no the operation quality of the station will reduce significantly. However, by looking at, say, another parameter, we can look at 2 different parameters. We can look at criticality, and we can look at resilience. So, looking at 2 different these 2 parameters, you can see how we have spread the cost now by criticality. Criticality goes from 5 to 1, 5 being high critical, the green being the low critical. In this case, we can prioritize the assets that are supposed to be in high criticality first, and then start to push the low critical assets to a later on. The other option is to look at resilience. So we've been looking at this resilience factor in this project for the last 2 years, where we can bring the resilience level of the station to a certain level. So I'm just showing you 3 different levels of resilience. We have a resilience factor from 0 to 4, 4 being at the highest resilience. And as you can see, the yellow dot here represents the highest resilience and in turn gives you the highest costing. But you could reduce the resilience of the station itself to level 3, which will take care of the incident, and the performance of the station will not be as impacted as if you were to look at not being able to spend, say, 2 or 1. And in this case, we have optimized the budget over the course of 10 years, and you can see how the different levels of resilience will give you different optimized budgets. In any case, it is less than the previous expected replacement cost of everything that was under damage. So that's sort of an example. So all of this information can be exported into a spreadsheet, and then the works can be carried out. And if you have information regarding times, you can then include that to be able to understand when the station is back in operation after the incident happens. That's it from me. Thank you for listening.
Thanks a lot, also from our side. So this last demonstration ends our live demo.